Let's dive right into this explainer and absolutely shatter a massive illusion in corporate leadership today. We tend to throw around titles like they're completely interchangeable, especially in the Dutch region. We've got this fast-paced international business culture colliding head-on with very traditional, incredibly strict corporate law. And let's be honest, everyone wants to be the CEO, right? It sounds visionary, it's dynamic, and it's globally recognized. But there is a massive legal gap between holding a strategic, flashy title and actually carrying the real legal weight of an organization on your shoulders. So today, we're going to untangle the glamorous from the legally perilous. We're going to look at exactly where high-level strategy meets hard, uncompromising legal reality.
So, you might be wondering, which title is actually higher, CEO or Geschäftsführer? If you're running a startup or an international firm in Germany, Austria, or Switzerland, it's easily the most common question asked. But frankly, it is completely the wrong question. People just assume the CEO is automatically the ultimate boss, mainly because, well, that's how it works in the US or the UK. But in a German corporate structure, hierarchy isn't just about who sits at the head of the boardroom table. It's about who the law recognizes when the authorities actually come knocking. You might have CEO printed on a premium, heavy stock business card, but if you don't understand the legal scaffolding holding that title up, you're playing a very, very dangerous game.
Because instead of just looking at corporate hierarchy, we have to look at the cold, hard legal code. Specifically, under paragraph 35 of the German Limited Liability Company Act, the GmbHG, the Geschäftsführer isn't just some high-level executive employee, they are a legally mandated organ of the company. What does that actually mean? It means they represent the company to the outside world, and way more importantly, they carry comprehensive operational responsibility. If taxes aren't paid, if a compliance check fails, or if the company goes bankrupt because of mismanagement, the Geschäftsführer is the one who can be held personally liable. We are talking about severe personal legal liability here. Your private savings, your house, your personal assets, literally on the line.
And that reality creates a pretty stark contrast between these two roles. Think of the CEO role as purely strategic. It's focused on the grand vision, the external impact, pitching to investors, and shaping the overall company culture. It's a title custom-built for international growth in boardrooms. But the Geschäftsführer? That is an uncompromising, obligatory legal role for any GmbH or UG. Its entire focus is on operative execution, strict compliance, and legal responsibility. Now, can you be both? Oh, absolutely. In fact, a ton of startup founders are CEO and Geschäftsführer all rolled into one. But you have to know exactly which hat you're wearing at any given moment. Because trust me, the legal system only cares about the one that's anchored in the law.
Now, I want you to burn a specific year into your mind, 2026. This is the horizon line that every single executive needs to be looking at right now. We have a massive wave of new European Union regulations and domestic compliance laws coming into full effect. And pleading ignorance, that is no longer an excuse that will protect your personal assets. The old days where a leader could just delegate everything to the legal department and shrug, claiming I didn't know, are completely over. These regulatory frameworks are explicitly tightening around the C-suite, and they're making these massive corporate responsibilities highly, highly personal.
So ask yourself honestly right now, where does your current governance structure fall? If you're operating in the red zone, meaning there's zero clarity between who sets the strategy and who actually owns the operative liability, you need an immediate governance overhaul. No question. Even if you're hovering in the yellow zone, maybe you're partially structured but you've got some blind spots in your documentation or reporting lines, you are still extremely vulnerable. Unless you are firmly anchored in the green zone, operating safely and compliantly with crystal clear governance, those impending regulatory shifts we just talked about are going to hit your organization like a freight train.
Which brings us to the 5 imminent danger zones for 2026. First up is Durchgriffschaftung. Basically, if you can't properly document how you made a major business decision, you're personally liable. Second is organizational negligence. Failing to supervise your team can easily trigger million-euro fines. Third, we are seeing brand new criminal liabilities emerge under the EU AI Act and cybersecurity laws like NIS 2. Fourth, we've got early warning mandates under Stare Rug, which legally requires you to have a system in place to detect threats to the company's very survival. And finally, ESG reporting gaps. Sustainability is no longer just a fun PR exercise, it's a hard, legally binding requirement under the CSRD.
And this is the real kicker. A glamorous title absolutely cannot shield you from modern compliance. The EU AI Act and corporate sustainability directives have completely shifted the playing field. Digital and ecological transformations, they are now personal liability issues for management. You can't just hand off the AI strategy to your IT department or toss the sustainability report over to your PR team and wash your hands of it. As the Geschäftsführer, if the AI your company uses violates European law, or if your environmental reporting is fundamentally flawed, the authorities aren't looking at IT or PR, they are looking directly at you.
But hey, fortunately, you don't have to navigate this perilous split alone. Take Jens R., a managing director of a medium-sized enterprise. Like a lot of executives, he was totally drowning in the blurred lines between his roles. But through specialized executive education, he realized something crucial. He didn't need to choose between being a visionary and being compliant. He just needed a framework to separate the two. And we see this all the time. Another executive, Sophie L., the CEO of a tech startup, noted that finally understanding this difference allowed her to position herself perfectly in international negotiations without accidentally triggering domestic liabilities back home. In this environment, clarity truly equals power.
This is where having the right framework becomes a total game changer. The S+ Toolbox acts as your ultimate lifeline, separating these two worlds while keeping them perfectly aligned. When you're acting in your CEO capacity, you're leaning on tools for strategy development, C-level scenario checklists, and stakeholder mapping to really drive the business forward. But when it's time to execute, you switch over to the Geschäftsführer toolkit. That means utilizing legal execution guides under the GmbHAct, explicit competence matrices so everyone knows exactly who is liable for what, and contract management with a strict liability focus. It's all about having a precise system in place, rather than just winging it and hoping for the best.
But, mastering these dual tracks is really only half the battle. You also have to be able to prove it. Securing an S+P certification provides you with a verifiable, fit and proper digital badge. Think about it. When the internal auditors arrive, or when the supervisory board demands actual proof that management is equipped to handle those strict 2026 regulations, you'll have a documented standard ready to show them. It's a massive signal to investors, partners, and regulators that you fully grasp both the expansive strategy and the restrictive legalities of your role. Ultimately, it protects both your career trajectory and your company's safety.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty stark question regarding your own readiness to survive the 2026 regulatory landscape. Are you leading with a rock-solid, legally compliant foundation, or are you betting it all on an impressive title? It's a tough question, but it demands an honest answer. The business world will always love visionaries for sure, but the legal system, it only respects diligence, structure, and accountability. Take the time right now to evaluate your governance, educate yourself on those impending danger zones, and make absolutely sure your corporate structure is as solid as your strategy. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this crucial topic, and I really encourage you to look at your own role today with fresh, legally informed eyes.